Can you imagine being abandoned by your parents at just 4 months old, only to have them reappear decades later, not out of love, but to sue you for your inheritance? It sounds like the plot of a movie, but this is my reality. My name is Alex, and this is the story of how the people who left me with nothing are now trying to take everything. My life began with a rejection that I was too young to even understand. At 4 months old, my parents decided I wasn't part of their plan. They dropped me off at my grandparents' house and simply vanished. No goodbyes, no explanations, just gone. For the next 18 years, my world was my grandparents. They were my mom, my dad, my everything. My grandfather, a man with a heart as big as his workshop, became my hero. He taught me how to fix a leaky faucet, how to read a compass, and most importantly, how to be resilient. He'd always say, "Alex, life might knock you down, but it's getting back up that makes you strong." My grandmother wrapped me in a blanket of unconditional love. She was the one who held me when I had nightmares and cheered the loudest at my school plays. They never once made me feel like a burden. They made me feel chosen. Growing up, I'd sometimes ask about my parents. My grandparents would sigh, their eyes filled with a sadness they tried to hide. They had their own path, kiddo, Grandpa would say, ruffling my hair. "But you're right where you belong." And I was there. Home was my sanctuary. We weren't wealthy, but we were rich in love, laughter, and support. They poured every ounce of their energy and savings into my future, ensuring I had everything I needed to succeed. They were there for my first steps, my first words, and my high school graduation. They cried tears of joy when I got accepted into college. They were my rock, my foundation, the only parents I ever knew or needed. Their love shaped me into the person I am today. A few years ago, my grandmother passed away, leaving a huge hole in our hearts. It was just me and Grandpa then. We leaned on each other, our bond growing even stronger. Then, last year, my grandfather, my hero, passed away peacefully in his sleep. Losing him felt like losing the sun. The world went dark and cold. In his will, he left everything to me: his house, his savings, and a portfolio of investments he'd carefully built over a lifetime. It turned out my grandfather was a very shrewd investor, and his estate was worth around $3.4 million. I was floored. He had never spoken of such wealth. His final letter explained it all. "Alex," he wrote, "this isn't just money. This is a head start. It's security. It's for all the opportunities we wanted you to have. Use it to build a life you're proud of. You deserve every bit of it." His words were his final gift, a validation of his lifelong love and belief in me. I was still grieving, trying to process this immense loss and this staggering inheritance, when the unthinkable happened. A legal notice arrived in the mail. It was a lawsuit. My biological parents, the two people who hadn't contacted me in over 30 years, were suing me. They were contesting my grandfather's will. claiming they were his rightful heirs and that I, their abandoned child, had no claim to the estate. The shock felt like a physical blow after 3 decades of silence. This is how they chose to re-enter my life, not with an apology, not with an explanation, but with a lawsuit aimed at taking away the legacy my grandfather left for me. Their legal argument was that, as his biological child's parents, they had a claim. They alleged that my grandfather was not of sound mind when he wrote the will and that I had unduly influenced him. Undue influence. I was his family, the one who was there day in and day out. The one who took care of him when he got older, who shared his joys and his sorrows. Where were they? Living their own lives, completely detached, without a single phone call or birthday card. They didn't just abandon me. They abandoned him, too. They left him to raise their child alone. Now they stand in a courtroom, painting me as a manipulative opportunist. They're strangers trying to rewrite my history, to erase the love and sacrifice of my grandparents. They see the $3.4 million, but they don't see the years of packed lunches, the scraped knees, the bedtime stories, or the unwavering support that built my life. They don't see the man who gave up his own dreams so that I could chase mine. This legal battle has become more than just about money. It's about honor. It's about defending my grandfather's final wishes and protecting the memory of the people who truly raised me. They might share my DNA, but my grandparents share my heart. They are my family. This inheritance is the final act of love from the only father I've ever known, and I will fight with everything I have to protect it, not for the money, but for what it represents: a lifetime of love, sacrifice, and belonging. This fight is for my grandfather. It's to prove that a family is built on love and commitment, not just biology. They may have given me life, but my grandparents taught me how to live it. And that is a legacy no lawsuit can ever take away. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It means a lot to be able to share this. If you've been through something similar or just want to show your support, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support gives me strength. See you in the next one.